Thanks everybody for coming. Obviously, recapping the game, I said it afterwards, and the film kind of held up. I was really happy with how we handled the game, how we handled the week. I thought we prepared the right way. I thought we had a really good weekend. I thought we were in the right mindset going into the game, and I thought we started really fast again. Obviously for us to have the big kickoff return to start the game, and then hit the touchdown on the first play, that's obviously what we were hoping to start fast and kind of get up on them, and we were able to do that. We got up 21-0. We had the big sack fumble in there, which was really critical. I did think we hit a little bit of a lull in the second quarter, which has obviously been a little bit of our challenge, and so really challenged them at halftime to come out in the third quarter and get back to playing the way we were capable of, and we did. We scored on 2 straight possessions, and really kind of put the thing to bed, and then at that point, we're really able to get a lot of guys in, and that was awesome. It was a great opportunity to get a lot of kids opportunities on the field. We were able to get some freshmen out there in one of their 4 games and get them some playing time. We were able to get a lot of our 2s and older guys on the field and some game reps, because those guys are important and we're going to need them, and so just really happy with it. Thought it was a great night, thought it was a great atmosphere. Very thankful for all the Duke employees who came out and supported us, thankful for the students who came out and supported us. And so it was a good win. It was a good opportunity to go to 3-0, and now on to a very dangerous Kansas team. Obviously a team that has started really well. Obviously Coach Leopold is doing an amazing job with that group and has really put his fingerprints on that group really quickly. They've been able to run the ball really well up until this point. They've got a tremendous dual threat quarterback, and what they're doing on offense is extremely challenging, and so I think they're averaging over 50 points a game, and so we've got our hands full with that side of the ball. Defensively, again, it's another similar 4-down front. They're able to roll through a lot of bodies on defense. They've got a lot of guys, and so they're really able to kind of sustain success. They play extremely hard. And so they've been able to really stop people from running the football. And so that recipe is a recipe for success, as we've talked about. And so, we're going to have our hands full out there in Lawrence, but, we'll certainly get our guys ready and, excited for the opportunity to go out there. And so from there, we'll kind of open it up to questions.
Obviously, Saturday night, you played a team that was a different level than Northwestern or Kansas coming up. So, but on your defense, how much progress did you see the guys make in terms of hitting their assignments where they should at a high level, tackling better, defending without making penalties?
Yeah, we did okay. There's still some ups and downs, and it'll be that way all the way, Steve. We're a group that's just going to continue to get better every time we go out there. And so, yeah, I thought we made progress. I thought at times, especially in the second quarter, we were a little loose in coverage, and we got fortunate with some balls maybe that they could have come down with. And I thought they were contested throws, but certainly throws that they could have come down with and didn't. But I did. I thought we made strides. We got better, but that's something we've got to do every single week, and for us to get where we want to go.
You know that Lance Leopold team is going to be able to run, and their running statistics are just off the charts good this year. They've also added a passing element with Daniels. Just what makes them so good? How do you defend a balanced team with that many weapons?
Yeah, it's obviously a challenge, and anytime you have a dual threat quarterback, it makes it a lot harder, and his ability to, run design quarterback runs, run read plays, throw the ball, and he throws the ball exceptionally well. He's not only a runner, he can throw the ball exceptionally well, but even when they are throwing it, he's still a run threat, and so he still has the ability to pull the ball down and kind of make something out of nothing. And so, and then they've got weapons around them. They've got weapons at wide receiver, they got weapons in the backfield, and so, they're a talented group. That's why they're scoring as much as they are. It's an impressive group to watch on film.
One of the things they've done is convert third downs to one of the national leaders in third down conversions. What are you seeing that makes them so good on third down?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just they're able to run the ball at a little bit longer yardage, which kind of limits your package a little bit. They do some different things with him back there, and then when they do get into throw situations, again, I think you're always limited when the quarterback can beat you with his feet, and so you just you don't have the opportunity to do everything you necessarily want to do on third down, because you got to make sure you're accounting for him at all times.
With the second quarter lulls or whatever they are, how do you balance being happy with the start and knowing that it's kind of human nature to, you said after the game that you're not going to score a touchdown on every drive.
Yeah.
How do you balance the getting them out of that pattern?
Yeah, I don't want to trade starting fast. I know that, you know what I mean? And so if what you're telling me I have to do is get up 21 and then let the team come back a little bit. Like, I'd rather have that than the other way for sure. But no, I just think it's consistency. And we just talked to him about, like, the game of football is you put your head down and you execute. And that's really what you have to do, play in and play out for over 3 hours. And then at the end of it, lift your head up. And when you lift your head up, if you approach it that way, the result will be what you want it to be. I think sometimes maybe we relax a little bit at times more than I would like us to. But, having said that, we still scored all but one drive when Riley was out there at quarterback. We scored a touchdown, and so I think some of it is expectations too. As like I said after the game, we're not going to score a touchdown every single time we have the ball, no matter what it looks like on the first 3 drives.
With the level of the opponent this past weekend, it seemed that some of the secondary guys were able to get in the backfield a little bit more than we've seen in the first 2 weeks. Is that something that's just you guys were able to kind of implement that this week? Several guys, safeties got in there and either had sacks or almost. I know Jalen almost had another one. Is that something that we're keying in on? You were keying in on for this game specifically, or is it just a natural progression?
Just the natural progression of the defense. I think, obviously it's a new system, it's a new scheme, and so each week, we feel a little bit more comfortable opening up more parts of the playbook. And so, I think being able to blitz those guys, and, Brandon Johnson and Jalen Stinson are extremely dynamic blitzers, and Darius certainly can bring a little something when he blitzes too. And so, we've wanted to be able to get in a position where we felt more comfortable allowing those guys to do that. And this was just a game for us to do it. Yeah, I mean, I told him this today, and I truly mean this. Like, there are no big games. There's just the next game. And you trust in your preparation. You trust in what you do. You trust in the work that you put in. You prepare the right way, and you go out and you execute. And that's football. And I think that mindset is the mindset that we want our program to have. And that's certainly not to disrespect our opponent in any way, shape, or form. I got a tremendous amount of respect for what we're going against and the success they've had. And, they've had 2 high quality wins on the road and are certainly playing at a really high level. But, we're going to focus on us. We're going to focus on our game, what we can do to be successful, how we can go about being successful, and get into the right mental state to do that ourselves. And if we can do that and play our game and our standard, that's what we can control.
How much value do you have from the Northwestern game in the sense that this group has played on the road before now? At least you have seen them in that type of setting and that routine.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps. I mean, I think we've been through an away trip. We've been through getting up and playing an 11 a.m. kick. Like, we know what that routine looks like. Certainly for your kids, there's a little less anxiousness when they've been through it all and they know exactly what it all looks like. I don't know how much it truly helps, but it's certainly better than having been through it than not having been through it.
You've been successful going up tempo this year. By the same token, I assume you'd like to put together some 5, 6, 7-minute drives and keep that potent Kansas offense on the sideline. How do you balance those two imperatives?
I want to score. And so however we got to go about scoring, I mean, I've said this before, like we're going to play offense in a way that allows us to score. I don't think we're playing excessively up tempo. I think we control the clock when necessary, but we can play tempo when it benefits us, and that's what we want to be. And we were able to play tempo and use it to our advantage in certain games, but then we've also, like, our play rate is extremely low. Like, we're not playing a lot of plays over the course of a game, and so we only had 10 possessions in the last game. And so even though we are at times playing fast, we're not playing an excessive speed that's putting our defense at risk. And so that's the balance, and that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, he did good. I mean, it was obviously a great opportunity for him to step in, and Dorian wasn't able to go with a lower leg injury, and it was awesome for Cam to be ready and step in, and that's what we want. We have to have guys that are ready to step in when their number's called, and he did a good job, and then it was great to get Nick Morris and Trey Freeman out there. Both of those guys were ready to go, and Trey got his number called a lot more than he has the first 3 weeks too, and so he probably got thrust into a situation also because Cam had been the primary backup, and now all of a sudden Cam's the starter, and so now Trey becomes the primary backup, and so he had to play even before the second half, had to play and did a really nice job too. So happy for all those guys.
As you were able to go back and look at film, anything from Henry's game? I know he got extended playing time as a true freshman. Anything that stood out to you from Henry the middle of the third quarter to the end of the game?
He throws the ball really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, we're obviously really happy with Henry, and he does a really good job and he prepares the right way. And, for the guys that are out there watching practice, I mean, you see him every day. He's out there working extremely hard. And so it was awesome to get him that reward. And it was really important for us. We wanted to be able to get him a series with the ones, and we were able to do that because we were able to get the lead like we did. And so that allowed us to put him out there as the quarterback with the ones, which was something going into the game I really wanted to do. And so that was great. And then he was able to get a lot of quality snaps. And that'll help him this year if the opportunity presents itself, and it'll certainly help him down the road. But I think Henry's going to be a really good football player.
A lot of times when a team has flips the script on turnovers, history-wise, it feels like interceptions are usually the thing. But you guys have recovered 6 fumbles. Is that technique?
I think so. I mean, I think so. We certainly have caused a lot of them. Sometimes you get lucky. Like there's lucky turnovers, right? There's, they botch a snap, or I think Temple fumbled an exchange, right? And those things over the course of time are going to weigh themselves out, right? You're not going to continue to have people hand you turnovers. There's interceptions that you make, and then there's lucky deflections that float up in the air, right? Those are different types of turnovers. I feel like the majority of the turnovers this year we've caused and we've forced them. And so that in your mind at least makes you feel comfortable that you can continue to go out and do that. And I think the other thing that is important with the turnover margin, I think our kids are starting to understand this too, is that's the other benefit of starting fast. We haven't had to chase games, and the teams that we've played have had to chase the game a little bit, right? And a lot of our turnovers have been in the second half. And so, when you're protecting a lead and controlling the game, it's a lot easier to be smart with the football than when you're getting behind, having to force things, and you have to put the ball at risk a little bit more. And so I think that plays a role in it also.
Are you concerned about how your team will respond to being behind 14, 21 points? You haven't had to do that yet.
Yeah. I mean, you're concerned about everything that hasn't happened, but no, I mean, our kids are extremely competitive. I think they are very well trained for what's in front of them this season, and so it hasn't happened yet, but I certainly anticipate it will show tremendous fight and will represent Duke very well.
Kansas kind of had the exact opposite. They went down 14-0. Houston, they went on like a 42-7 run or something crazy.
Yeah.
Almost kind of playing into the hands of what we've done in the first couple of weeks as well. I mean, I guess the question is anything specific in that second quarter that you've already talked about of a reset for the defense and the offense of hey, this is historically first 3 weeks of the season, this is where they've been and where we've been.
Yeah. I just, again, I don't want to make too much about this. When you score on 3 straight possessions and you stop the other team on 3 straight possessions, it naturally feels like there's this slack off. I don't want to come off like there's this big drop off. The other teams are gonna score and the other teams are going to stop us. We've just been really fortunate with how games have started, and we've started really crisp and really sharp. And so it feels a little bit more like there's this big drop off. We set high bars and high standards. So when drives fail, we want to figure out why. And so that's a part of it internally. But I also don't want to make it into this big thing that we start fast and then we put the brakes on, because I don't feel like that's what's happening. I feel like there's been a handful of things maybe that have kind of bogged up execution at times, but I don't feel like our kids are putting the brakes on when we get up.
How much do you put more weight on how your team performed in a non-conference power conference and kind of game? You know what I mean? Against a team that's another power conference as opposed to a lower division team, or is it you're learning every time they go out and it all weighs the same to you?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you evaluate the film, there's certain things that you're looking for that hold up regardless of opponent, right? Our mindset, there's a physicality that exists. There's a level of execution and communication that exists. There's a energy with which we play the game, right? Those things kind of supersede every game, right? And if you can bring those things regardless of opponent, you're going to be in a great situation. Then there's things that you look at, and we got behind the chains a couple times in the first quarter of that game, right? And we were able to convert the 1 4th down, and we were able to convert a couple 3rd downs. But you do talk to them about hey, listen, our recipe for success is not going to be 2nd 11. Our recipe for success is not going to be 3rd and 9, right? And we got to make sure we don't fall into a trap thinking that those things will always work out in our favor. We still got to make sure we understand. And so then there's some things that maybe you get away with based on level of opponent that you want to make sure that you understand moving forward. It's got to be a little bit crisper and a little bit cleaner. Yeah, and it's a funny story. I appreciate you asking me that. So, yes, I think Jalen and Jordan coming out of the Northwestern game clearly had elevated their game. And we talked to Quez last week about, I love Quez. I think Quez runs the ball really well. He hasn't done anything wrong. We just feel like Jalen and Jordan have kind of stepped forward. And Quez went out and had a great week of practice. And when it was his time to get his number called, he was ready and he ripped off a big run. And so Quez is still a piece of that equation for sure. And he still plays a role in that equation for sure. And it just continues to speak about the character of the kids that we have in our locker room, because he didn't get all the touches that he necessarily would have wanted to, but when it was time to get touches, he went out there and he was really effective, and he put himself in position to get right back into the rotation. So just really happy with how he handled that and responded to it. Yeah, I think we were, Riley was hoping Samir was going to cut in front of the safety. And so, we ran a switch route and they kind of passed it off. And so I think Samir saw it one way and was trying to run over the top of the safety. Riley saw it another way and kind of threw it underneath the safety. And so that's what made it look a little bit worse to the natural eye. I think Riley let it go in really good timing, trusting Samir. And I think Samir just saw a difference. I think it was just a miscommunication between the two, something we've got to do a better job of coaching them up on.